Hi everyone. I think today we are getting into an area of a real focus for the entire ecosystem. The world has really moved from maybe a unsecured business or secured business, and as we know that within the market, large businesses largely happens on secured lending. I think many times we get caught in that is a PL is a flavor or other things, but if you look at secured lending, the size of the market is very, very large and amazing amount of work can be done in this business. Of course, it's a very boring business to be in. I'll be honest that when we got into it a few years back, when we were trying to improve journeys for others, people were asking, why are you doing this? It's I mean, nothing can be done here. But we found amazing amount of solutioning out there which could actually improve the top line and bottom line of the companies a lot. And from a customer perspective, one hell of a experience to improve it. So I think that's the thought process we had. So therefore, we thought a lot about this particular session, and then sort of we came back with this idea that we will work with the market a lot on solving the digital lending journeys or lending journeys, which is on HLLF, home loans and loan against property. My name is Samir Singh Jenny, and I'm part of the Digital 50. I'm the founder here, and what I will do is I'll spend maybe just next 2-3 minutes introducing about what kind of work we do, and then we'll head on directly into this area of what all is happening in this market and what can be done. We'll also give you exact insights. What are the areas where specifically you can into the intervention and drive the transformation? But let's say so. A critical. As I said, our firm has been there. So we have been there for 8 years. We run a large event called Bharat FinTech Summit, but it's just once a year. We're also coming with the InsurTech event very, very soon. I think it's in on June 20th or 18th around that. And then within this business of fintech and digital, we are amongst the largest players in Asia as well. And we continue to grow year on year. All 25 of us work in only one area, digital finance advisory and execution. And we work with a lot of people. We've been there for 8 years, so every year we have grown. This year, obviously, is a year of massive growth for us, and we are investing a lot in process, people, and of course, technology as well. And that's the area of choice for us. Again, none of us are consultants by background. All of us are practitioners. So thought leadership is critical part of it. Prediction approach is critical. Deep engagement. So we don't give PPTs and leave it there. We actually execute with a lot of people in the market, and we've seen amazing results with our clients. So we are largely a reference-based consulting firm, not just pure brand. So I think a lot of people use us for scaling up their business, and of course, network effect. So we know so many of you and in the market, so it helps. So let's continue. Yeah. We do also training courses. So we've trained a lot. So if you're, I mean, we've done this course on HL Lab as well with many entities. So if you would want to transform your entity, please do reach out to us and we'll happy to work with you. And of course, we train across open banking, digital lending, and all of that. I know that many of you know us from the courses we used to do, master classes and certification. We don't do it anymore at an external level, but we can still do it for a lot of corporates as well. What are the kind of services we offer on consulting side? Very deep consulting, strategy, digital strategy, journeys, process improvement, all of that inside out. Partnership. Suppose you're partnering with a few fintechs for even the secure lending journey, we can actually run those partnerships, build those integrations, processes, all of that, and trainings. And of course, we are very strong on cyber security and risk advisory, compliance. For example, IT, a lot of compliances are there from IT outsourcing, and then the master direction. We have a practice running here which actually can solve those issues. So again, as I said, we are practitioners, so we know how regulators think and we solve for it. We are even entering the regulatory compliance even from a SEBI perspective as well. So that's large it. Quickly on the home loan advisory perspective, we've done a lot of work. So all of that here, what you hear today is based on our experiences. It is actually not coming out of some figment of imagination. It's all experiences, what can be and has been achieved practically. So a lot of people use us for looking at their process and rebuilding the process end to end. We actually do a lot of product management in the market, even in HL and lab area. So product management journeys, BRDs, processes, all of that, SOPs we write. We can run your program management. So if you're running those programs, any program in the market, not just on HL Lab, beyond we can run. You want to do a LMS, LOS, legal tech, and prop tech evaluation, we can run that. Technology advisory in terms of cyber security, architecture, scalability, all of that, and of course regulatory compliance as well, which is very very specific, primarily on IT side. But that's largely the advisory services we have, which we execute in the market, which is the basis of our own this whole training as well. So let's come back to the agenda. The idea is to have a view that in a digital first era, how would you reimagine the HL Lab journey, home loans and loan against property journey? How would we figure out that in a hybrid journey, how do we scale up? How do we merge the physical power or strength to a digital agility, right? Finally, anybody who's buying a house or doing a loan against property would always want to do a touch and feel, because his property is not a small thing, right? They would always want to, whom they're handing over the document, you won't do it digitally, right? You would want to, because that's also a physical document. So there's a lot of things to be done there. How do we ensure that with connected ecosystems, so so much of data being available from the market, can you actually improve the efficiency levels? And of course, what are the practical? So we'll give you insights what it is, and we'll be happy to take your questions. So please do share your questions right here. We'll try to respond back to them, and either during the session or post session. And would love to engage with you in as many meetings as you would want us to do, because I think this is the passion for us. We want to really ensure that HL Lab journeys dramatically improve, and of course, it will reduce the cost like crazy, and therefore more and more lenders will do much better out there in this market. Let's look at the significance of what it means, right? Now, I'm talking about a cost of unlike a PL, where the cost digital journey costs have come down dramatically. Sourcing is still is a cost, but at least the journey processing has become very, very routine and mundane. We have done this with largest banks of India as well. So we have been able to solve for it, but there I think the cost can have come down dramatically. But if you look at it in home loan and LAP, 20 days of TAT is normal. I've heard 30 days, I've heard 40 days. And the CAC, the cost of acquisition, is 20 to 50,000 rupees. I'm being very honest. I think this is also lower. I didn't want to shock it with a number like 70, 80,000 rupees per loan. Assume that this loan is size is 50 lakh. When you say 50 lakh loan and maybe 50,000 as a cost of onboarding, you have to remember that the cost of partnership, let's say you may have sourced that customer through a DSA, and that cost is separate. That's not included here. So you're taking, and many times you will also try to justify that it's just 1% of the home loan amount or a LAP amount. I think it's not correct, right? Because you multiply that factor for whatever banks you're looking at, this number which we are wasting on the whole process is as high, or maybe it can be optimized as high as maybe 20 crores, 30 crores, depending on the size of the bank you are. And I'm sure for any bank of any size, this amount is not small and does impact the customer experience. So I think today what we have is very cost of prohibitive journey. You can't do a let's say lab below amount because you find it tough to do. The process are very rigid. I've found all kind of errors and issues in the process. And this is the simple logic is these journeys were built maybe 5, 10, 20, 30 years back. And when more and more digitization happened, more and more it became convoluted. And you have half digital, half physical. It gets much more difficult, right, to manage. And of course, customer also never knows what's happening there, right? So I think I myself have gone through this journey, and I know that customer communication is a mess. The customer doesn't know what the status is. In fact, the sales staff also does not know what exactly is happening as such in the journey. And therefore, it's useful for us to have a view how we can improve it. So it's not optional anymore, right? I think customers know the retail journeys are so strong, so easy. And then the moment you look at HL Lab, this is all screwed up, right? So it's time for us to do it, not just because anything, because many fintechs or many large banks already started this transformation, and you will find it tough to do it. I think some of these large banks have started doing good journeys here. I think we also have to look at the digital divide as such, right? As a customer, you typically would actually know what's happening there, right? You know that when you're running these journeys, on the PL side, it takes 6 to 10 minutes for disbursement. We have done for so many implementation. It's just, I mean, that minutes can always be 30 minutes. It's okay. but it's not going to be too long. You have an application pose, it's always fully digital. A lot of pre-filled data. You don't have to do all of that. There's almost zero intervention. So of course, at a higher amount in certain risks, you would do it, but it's not always there. You will have a cost of acquisition of, is this 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees? I'm talking about right now processing cost. I'm not talking about sourcing cost. They're always there. They have to be budgeted in as well. But I'm talking about processing cost. And then, of course, so when you scale the business, you know it will scale. But if you look at in HL Lab journey, when you try to scale, you suddenly find that, okay, credit is becoming a bottleneck. Oh, credit operations is becoming a bottleneck. Oh, sales is becoming a bottleneck. You'll find a lot of bottlenecks out there. It's really not ready for scale automatically. And when you do it more people will come both in the branches as well as corporate office. Whereas the inherently inefficiency, if you remove, you can actually do double the business with same structure. And of course, customer side, customer technically on the retail or a PL side, completely clued on what is happening, exactly what is happening. They know the experience, they get the through and out, over and out. In HL side, bulky process, personal discussion, legal, technical, and these are the three critical activities. But beyond that, there'll be tremendous amount of other activities which keeps happening. We'll talk about each one of them later. Yeah, and there's too much of person dependent. If suppose somebody is not there, it'll slow down. In the branch you go and it doesn't work. So those dependencies are very, very huge. So on one side, on PL, all the APIs were still the same. They have been really well used. But when it comes to the HL journey, it is always managing. Harbar, we put up human to the whole process, saying man behind ATM is what we have done. Even those who have good, you speak about good digital journeys, will have too many people running around in between as well. And generically, also you have to look at that productivity of people out there. Let's say sales staff can do maybe two, three, four logins per month. You can have a credit guy doing 7 to 10 approvals a month. It's still very, very controlled. So it's, you don't have see top line going up at all. What slows down the HL? So many of you will say, यार सभी तुमको नहीं पता, बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. I understand those things are there. What are the real challenges, right? You have multiple teams. There are a lot of silos, a lot of uncoordinated actions. चीजें आपस में अटक जाती हैं. I mean, I heard in an environment that, for example, legal actually can do the activity in minutes because it's a desk job. If they want to do it, and it can be done in maybe overall end to end, maybe few hours, because all templated, right? They know the local stuff and they can come out fast. And a lot of data, I think around 15, 16 states is all digital by nature. But because we have got used to it, it does still take some time. So, and legal ideally should be done rather quickly and ahead of time. But it typically lacks in different environments. Sometimes they do credit first, then legal, then technical, then legal. Some people will do uncoordinated. So बहुत सारे expenses हैं. I think when we do one-on-one chat, I can explain this much deeper and much better. बहुत सारे documentation. I can tell you my own experience was that it took me 26 days for getting approval for a basic loan, right? Nothing exceptional. And because the process was convoluted, they were kept on asking questions. And if we were to look at real policy, actually they should not have asked maybe 1/10 of the documents, but it did because the process is not created foolproof, right? It's just documentation, more documentation. I would have given my KYC document, I think 5, 6 times. I don't know what they were doing with it. Every unit will come and ask for same documentation again. And imagine when you do eKYC, would you need it? You don't need, right? But let me just ask for it, right? लोगों से पूछ ही लेते हैं क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है, right? Let's just ask. I think that's how we see it. Of course, legal and technical has to be done. You have to ensure that valuation of the property is done, but we have to remember, in valuation is actually is not no longer as rocket science because transaction you would have done within the organization multiple times. We know the property in that location, that area is how much. So there'll be obviously certain use cases where valuation is critical, but a lot of desktop valuation where you actually know the location and the pricing is automatically there can be done. With limited visibility in the of the customer, so वो follow up हो रहा है. What slows down is customer keeps asking and then RM also does not know. So lack of visibility is an issue. And normally we have not seen CRM, lead management, LOS, LMS. You don't work in unison. Data आता है, नहीं आता है, आधे integration है, आधे नहीं है. And if your organization is not has a perfect world, I think I'll be very happy to see it. but I haven't seen in whichever, we worked in a lot of leading organizations, it has not worked out that way. Um, Cost per loan obviously has gone up. The TAT is an issue. CAC is an issue. Too much of human intervention. We kept on. Let's move on from here. I think I've spoken enough about it. So, what are the various steps in a HL lab journey? I'll talk about HL. Very similar journey for lab. Lab actually is easier than HL because the counterparty is not there. You are giving the loan to the customer herself or himself. So you will have an activity of lead generation, sourcing and login, valuation, validation and assessment. This is where ideally you should be able to judge the customer automatically at this stage. But any which way, so PD is required, credit health check is there, valuation report will be done, title search will be done, and then of course legal verification report will come, in principle approval. So I think these steps run some in some places concurrently, some places in parallel. But interesting part is that this process itself, which is the sourcing to login, I've seen in places running in maybe anywhere between 3 days to even 10 days at this stage itself, because the checks and documentation can be very convoluted. Banks would have created maybe 20 programs or 10 programs. And interestingly, all those 10 programs are based on very limited amount of data. But because the BRE is not structured, the sales staff would have taken some documents, and then when you go to back office, or credit, they'll say, okay, this is not running into this program. Program is basically underwriting logic, right? BRE logic. This program is not working, that program is not working. So you keep changing the program, and then when you change the program, you may end up saying, okay, he will be, maybe let's try in GST, and you have to go back and ask GST data back with him. You can say, okay, I will need ITR here, or I need data for last 12 months or 24 months as the programs you would have created. So I think basic minimum criteria of what all you need from the customer is not known to the sales staff. They are they are basically working based on unknown information on the underwriting. I think it's very crucial that all those challenges have to be sorted at the customer level. So when the sales staff meets a customer, they should be able to fit the customer in a particular program, and that is not a rocket science. I think it's basically BRE plus plus. All we need to do is that, and anyway, we have PAD, personal discussion happening after that. So at no point in time I'm saying that you will not do PD. Please do PD, but ensure that the first level of validation, which is based on bureau, based on maybe income assessment on an ITR, a bank account statement, and maybe GST done upfront on a tab or a mobile, and you've done it. I'm not saying the customer should be doing on its own. You can do assisted journey as well, or your DSS can do it, but just get it out so that the rejection happens upfront. At least the financial approval is done at that stage. Then you get into PD, and then you get into legal and technical. We'll talk about the tools available to improve those journeys as well. And then, of course, then you would go into sanction, then you go to agreement signing, and then, of course, you end up with a process of original document verification. These stages can be different because when you are buying a property, the timelines can differ. Some people have auspicious days for transactions as well. All of that things will happen. And then, of course, at this stage, you will do, at this stage, we have seen a lot of revalidation of the whole process all over again happening. You may want to do RCU rated checks as well at this stage. And then, of course, mortgage creation, you will do disbursement. And then, of course, whenever the collection process starts, and then foreclosure will happen. So net, we are talking about this 20 days is what you can cut down to maybe 7 to 10 days. If we as a team, and we work together, this is what we can achieve as a team, and which is significant. I mean, I'm not saying we should be able to do it in one day. I think that's not going to happen. But I think if you can stabilize in the first stage, so 7 to 10 days, it'll be brilliant for the market. And as a NBFC or a HFC or a bank, I'm sure customer will rush towards you. If you could call it out that you are in and out within your first level of financial approval will happen online or when we meet you. But if once I take your document, only PD and technical legal will take maybe 3 days, and you're done, right? So 7 days is end to end. That is which is what you can recommend. And I think I'm going into deep into what are the steps where the issues can happen. It can be a lead generation qualification where there's a poor dedupe, unstandardized valuation, or even the income standard validation, or a BRE frameworks are not there upfront. CRM, I've seen it missing in most places. Then, of course, validation assessment. I think all the documents. Some people bring scanned documents. Some people will bring this. Some people will provide BRE, which is not unstandardized. So, बहुत सारे challenges हैं. ID and we ask for too many identification options, right? So some can be digitized, some cannot be digitized. So all those checks are there. There's also a checklist which is there, which is not, which is again edge cases to edge cases. So you will have a 3 pager, 6 pager checklist. I've seen in all organizations have the same structure. Too many physical checklists because you want to remove it, but I think checklist should be within the system. Handwriting I've spoken about. It takes a lot of time. If a great guy can actually do maybe only 7 to 10 the conversions or approvals in a month, depending on case to case. If it is a larger amount, it'll be even lower. It's not viable. So I think we need to automate a very extent, and of course, human touch is required. I'm not never saying that. I love digital, but it has to be done properly. And of course, technical may again valuation delays and pricing is issues. I've even heard scenarios where certain people actually underprice because the same valuer may be working with another one, so may want to take a first pass at another valuer. So they will undervalue for you and a higher value for. So there's a lot of discrepancy of data which has to be eradicated. It has to be maybe audited as well, right? Legal has the same thing. It can be digitized a lot more, and there's a lot more data originally at source available. Maybe that has to be done. And a lot of the title search can be done digitally as well, right? So a work which is can be done now. eNASH, of course, the issue which we saw was that some people have centralized their operations, some have not centralized their operations, some are half here, half there. So every time there is handoffs come up, there's a huge amount of challenges come up. And of course, once the disbursement happen, the attention to spend on the customer goes down. And therefore, the other challenges come. I personally felt whenever loan was given to me, the attention to me was very high. The moment the buying is done, the attention levels have gone down significantly from my lenders. Now, what are the various opportunities for digitization here? I think I'm just giving examples, right? Not that anybody is paid us for that. Just pointer here. So lead generation, eKYC, digital login. You have players like Signsy, Perfios, NSDL. You can help us in these journeys through multiple data points and insights. Even for, let's say, validation and assessment, you can use Glib, Sehmatika, account aggregate data, Perfios, Script. A lot of people can actually use it. Then on underwriting side, you have a BRE engine from FICO or a CRIF. All of that, you can use that data for underwriting. For valuation, you can use PropEdge or a Square Yards out there, which can help you in valuation, the legal, valuation of the property as well. And then from a legal perspective, TEAL is there, legality is there, maybe Matrum is there. They can help you in multiple ways, different areas, different logics. And of course, disbursement side, you have DGU and legality helping, and then of course, servicing side. So these are just examples, not to push for any one of them. I think different scenarios, different process. Uh, I think so. So maybe I think there are some questions there. Let me just see what the question is. So the question which has come from Manoj Tulani was, is there any difference in HL and LAP journey? I think just look at from a process perspective. In the case of LAP, loan against property, the disbursement has to be done to the technically to the customer in their own account largely, right? That's how the process would always work. And therefore, this process, the counterparty risk is not there. And also flows are clear. Home loan process will have multiple stages. You have to do first disbursement, second disbursement, third disbursement. The documentation in HL are not available with the customer, right? It is only when the transaction is done that the documentation will come. In Mumbai, for example, registration will happen, and then the disbursement will happen. So stages are different in different areas. Whereas in LAP, the documentation is there. The customer hands over a documentation, the process can start. So I think original documents are not available and disbursement is not happening to the same customer is a key step or key process, which actually can be confusing. I think my request to each one of you is if you can share more questions, I'll try to respond back to as many as I can. Feel free to share a question. I think while I'll also pause in between, and maybe I'll pause for a moment right now. We are almost 25 minutes in, and happy to take any questions out here. What I will also do is, if as any of you or many of you would want to raise your hands, I'll if you can raise your hands, we can actually go ahead and allow you to ask question as well. So it'll make us more interactive as well. Very useful if you can do that. But you can raise your hands and I'll allow you to speak as well. So maybe this is VC Sharma. Please introduce yourself and ask your question. So if you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question, yeah, please.
Yes, can I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
So basically, if you can give us some light, if there is any solution available which address the entire life cycle of the onboarding of the journey of the housing property, particularly in terms of loan against property, right from all workflows which include the property verifications, legal verifications, and valuation processes. So, as far as my understanding is, this process is still disintegrated or individually being handled. So, and I have gone through multiple LOS products, but they are not providing. They are storing the information, but there is only the static. But there is no workflow based solution in my knowledge. So if you have, you definitely have better exposure. So if there is some product, so we can evaluate that in terms for taking it further.
So our learning in the market has been that these journeys have to be stitched. Platforms can vary, but stitching has to be done. This experience has been across board. Um, Everybody has something right, something wrong. You have to also realize that the entire LOS journey, which has been built in the country, have been largely on unsecured side, because that's
Exactly.
where the digitalization happened. In secured lending, because the ticket size, the number of transactions are lesser, and banks have not digitized. Largely, the full journeys that don't exist. So you take it for granted that if you were to search in the market, you will not find a full solution. You have to also figure out that there every stage you have to find a different solution to it. So I think you need to have workflow programs, and then stitching with different partners is what we need to do. I'll show you architecture as well,
Yeah.
but a lot of hands work has to be done. Abhi hai nahi India.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because
And maybe
yesterday I was with Salesforce event, and they are also having LOS, but I was specifically asking integrated workflow in terms of handling the onboarding of the collectors. So that was somewhere even, in fact, they were also lacking that particular functionality. So majority of
nahi.
the LOS cater to the unsecured loans.
Yes. जो चलता है वही चलता है. Everybody spends some money on that. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. So then we go now to need to Naveen Saraf. You can go ahead and ask your question, Naveen.
Thanks, Saniji. Very insightful. You very well pointed out all the pain points. I myself, being a home loan applier a few years back, so I can understand the pain points, which whatever all you pointed out are exactly the pain points in the lending journey for home loans and home loan lab. So we are trying to build a platform for lending wherein an home loan applier can come and just put in the project approved project name so that he can search whether that project is approved by any bank or not. So I think in that case, many things, many pain points which are there in the uh, loan origination systems gets wiped off, I mean, gets eradicated because uh, any bank can come to know that this borrower is looking out a home loan for this project. So a bank who already has approved that project will be willing to onboard that borrower into their uh, lending journey. So so my question is it possible that banks can share an API wherein banks can share their whoever builder they have approved the project with, so that the journey of onboarding becomes easy for the borrower. So borrower also can come to know which bank has approved my project.
No, I think so. Let's put it like this: we are going to at a one level high. That is only an Excel which is available in the market. I think what the banks are doing, or and maybe some of the large banks have done, is the pre-approved properties is they've integrated in their LOS journey, so that when you customer comes on board and advance the property, then you don't have to do a legal and technical, right? That saves a lot of effort. And if it is your own customer, then don't have to do KYC again. So I think these are all ways to optimize it. It is going to work largely for big players, because big players only have pre-approved properties in the structure. They don't have this, not actually with the small size players as well. So it works beautifully for large players. But I think in most cases, it's still a work in progress, because main journeys were not digitized. So this has been done, but I mean, my own experience has been only top 3 players have a good story there. But beyond that, it's work in progress. Legal and technical is what they can improve upon and solve for, but be work in progress. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Then we move to Saurav. Saurav, please go. Soren, please go ahead and ask your question, please. So when you want to ask your question, please. Okay. If not, we move to Ambuj.
No, so I think I'm unmuted. Okay. I can now.
Please go
No,
ahead.
Samir, I think I'm from Velocity, and I was listening to Mr. Sharma. So, we can solve that problem for him, where Velocity specializes in a.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So let's not use it for cross-sell.
no, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't know where he can get in touch with me. I'm not doing that. That's why I didn't say. So I said I can contribute. There are solutions available, as Naveen rightly
Correct.
said, which needs to be stitched with LOS. But there are specialized platform we can solve the problem, both legal,
Correct.
technical, and some other things. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that pointer. Ambuj, you can ask your question, please.
Hey, hi, Samir. Thanks. Just a feedback required from you. So I'm from Perfios, and let's say we have a end-to-end mortgage solution, but it is not an LOS, and we are not planning to pitch an LOS. So do you think that would help market all the people NBFCs in the bank which have the LOS, but they require an intelligent platform which includes from lead gen to document digitization, pre-included verification API, bank statement analysis, pre-integrated BRE, and the workflow where you can also include DSAs here, from DSAs to RMs to underwriters. We have this platform, but do you think we should place it where LOS is already present, or it can only play a game where LOS is not present?
I think I don't know the exact story, but fact of the matter is that on secured lending side, journeys are all convoluted. So if we can, even if LOS is there, it may be doing half the work, right? Because it's not efficiently structured in 90% cases. Let me put it like that. So I think
Mhm.
there'll be enough places where you can actually place it, even when LOS is there.
Perfect. Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I think this good round of questions we heard in this session. I think what I will do is I'll move back to the session and start with the other pointers which we were talking ahead. Yeah. So I think what we are looking at is, and this is also a genesis of these whole problems, right? Genesis kaisa tha? Process comes first, right? So how we do it, we write SOPs, right? And SOPs are focused on human processes, right? So you kept on building like that. Field driven operations. So I think whenever you take things physical, you actually I've seen enough people having a docket or a file. The moment you create a file, everything goes for a toss, because now we are competing with a physical file. I don't know if those who have experienced it only can actually understand the point, because otherwise आपको लगेगा ऐसा कैसा हो सकता है? Your physical file, if doesn't move from this desk to that desk, the nothing can be done. So just imagine in most places there is a physical docket which is there, which is built. So it will have what it will have. It will have a Aadhaar, but you have done eKYC. Why do you need it? You already done, let's say, statement analysis. Why do you need the statement printout? Bureau was pulled automatically. Why do you have a bureau document? So in return, what happens? The documents we are used to that file system. So you will still think of login. Login is what file dal ke dal diya. The file itself moves. It's a bulky piece, right? I've seen as large as this or maybe more. And if you start going through it on day one, आपको लगे बहुत कुछ है. But actually, if you go in deep, बहुत limited documentation, all of them already digitized, right? So I think physical document हो जाएगा तो सब रुक जाएगा. Then there is the system will have a half-baked LOS. तो human touch चल रहा है. RM may be acting like a system integrator, right? So RM must be trailing that out. And of course, in terms of integration and processes, थोड़ा बना के थोड़ा छोड़ दिया होगा, right? So I think we have those challenges. Excel and email based workflow. So आधे approval तो email पे हो रहे होंगे, right? I'm sure many of you will be thinking that yeah, जैसे ही approval के लिए जाता है मेरा बड़ा boss email से देता है, right? And of course, channel centric thinking है. The branch और DSA focused journeys हैं. जैसे ही regional सोचते हो, आप अलग journey बनाते हो. You're not thinking that customer journey in the current world also has to be improved, because your 99% of, even if you say that my full digital journey bana dunga, but you have to take the customer on those journeys, or you have a tab being there. You have to ensure that your 99% of customer experience great journey, rather than you build a great journey for 1% customer on which nobody comes, right? So, and of course, tech is a support structure. So वैसा issue है. Now, how we will visualize is that journey centric बनाते हैं, पूरा design बनाते हैं, and we have to orchestrate in this whole process every touch point and every human being involved, right? It can be credit, it can be operations, it can be sales. We have to have empathy for each role. For example, credit will come back saying ये तो करना ही नहीं चाहिए, मैं reject कर देता हूँ because the sales guy, why did he do it, right? So I've heard enough human touch to it, which is sometimes not laced with empathy. If you have empathy for each role, why the person is doing, how can we add productivity to it? I think journey can be actually built really well. We have to ensure that many of the things like when can be orchestrated better? Can you do a video PD? Can you do a digital SRO framework? Can you do prop tech APIs? Can you do legal indifferently? Can you ensure that, let's say, even the technical, can you do on video, right? Because property is not going to move away, and you can actually whitelist some property where you know that these properties, let's say, let's say argument wise, in Agra, some 89 colonies are whitelisted. So why do you need to do human touch there? You can actually do digitally. So we need to, anyway, आप legal check in the career. When the physical document will come, you're anyway going to check, right? You're not going to leave it. So that's how I'm thinking. That rule engine automation, I think I keep hearing that we have created a BRE engine, which is a human focused, right? So we have not called all qualifications. We have just said that ये 3 criteria देख लो, बाकी तो credit वाला देख लेगा. So you have to run programs which can be digitized. And if it is not digitized, it should be 1 or 2 pointers which can be done on PD. But if everything is unknown, then approvals are not of no use, right? Tomorrow, how do you do a performance management of that particular portfolio? Because it's not built on BRE, it's actually built on credit guy. And credit guy will keep shifting, your risk will keep moving. You have to also look at the sales guy, is typically in a particular role for a particular organization for not more than a year or 2. And credit also maybe not for maybe 2 years or more. So if you are not building the process itself like that, or BRE engine like that, you are basically prone to more and more errors in the market. And of course, in the whole process, we have to accept that the assisted mode and DI will coexist forever. I think in this business, forever is what you should take. 10 साल के बाद क्या होगा पता नहीं है, but next 10 years it has to coexist. So you have to build a journey which has both, is laced with both the things. And of course, the tech is core. Invest heavily into it. Just a pointer that I was talking to a tech guy. He says, okay, my tech cost for this activity is maybe around 300 rupees for these APIs and process, and maybe I give my LOS guys maybe 30 rupees per file or something like that. And therefore it is optimized. I said, do you know what our overall cost is? I told him the cost is suppose around 50,000 rupees. So he was surprised and he said, no, we cannot add the sales guy's cost and we cannot add the credit guys, but something has to be added. It's finally about productivity. Every human being in an organization is valued on productivity as well, right? So why would you not do it? So I think that's how you think about it. And of course, the reduction we have been able to do in the customer world has been that has been brought in real world to 8 to 10 days. CAC, I'm just looking at I've not didn't want to tell exact number, but I think much higher than that. So 20% is what you should be able to remove. Just imagine for every file. So if you were to do a 30,000 files in a year, and on each file, you can remove 10,000 rupees. We are talking 30 crore savings. So we're not talking about some small numbers, and it adds to a payroll for a lot of organization. Productivity increase is shocking, right? For example, one sales guy today does maybe two transactions, can do 4 or 5. And accuracy level will also be much higher. Drop off rates, for example, customers, because you take 25 days, tend to get off the system, right? They will leave you. So वो कम हो जाता है. And of course, STP also be हो सकती है, right? I mean, you can even have scenario where some level of STP can happen post login, right? आपको पता लग गया तो आप आगे बढ़ गए, right? So I think there's a lot of positive things possible. There's more of a architecture where you can think about a platform or a framework, which I think a question was coming, architecture कैसा होना चाहिए. I think LMS तो जैसा रहेगा वैसा है, NPA रहेगा तो रहेगा. You obviously need payments, but I think from a integration perspective, PropTech integrations have to be inherently there within the frameworks. Legal and technical has to be the whole frameworks, and title search and property evaluation can have to be integrated deeply into the structure. They may not be part of the system, but deeply integrated. A lot of times you create a separate system for it, and then you add more and more processes to it. You need to have a BRE engine for both individual, because in many cases in LAP, you will actually be doing business risk as well, right? So we have to figure out which all risks you are managing. And of course, the whole LOS, where you have to have workflows, deviations. A lot of times we don't look at deviations, and we make our deviations so complicated that they cannot be coded. Please ensure you build deviations which can be coded, because you're doing it for your own sake. It can't be coded. Therefore you're adding maybe at a company level, you are adding maybe 5 crores of cost because you didn't want to create a codable deviation. So I think some level of process change has to be done as well. And of course, you have to ensure that all these journeys are available on partners, digital channels of yourself, and assistant. So Pre-turn State should be able to use it. Deeply integrated, has to have a good analytics, because an analytics and outreach programs, because people will drop off, what stage, what has happened. Every event you have to track. The way you have, you normally see that in a retail flow, if you have drop off some level, immediately you're caught. So I think that level of integration is required. Of course, this is end to end, so you have to have a good early warning signal as well. And of course, all integration, all the document management system. So end to end, what you're doing is that what you're building a system is channel agnostic, unified, end to end connected. I think this is the question which I think the gentleman was asking in the first question. A plug-in with the external is critical. When your LOS partner says, मेरे पास integration आप बोलोगे तो मैं कर दूंगा. The question is, यार वो तूने करके क्या लेके आया, right? What have you brought to the table? So I think plugins have to be there enough in the market, deeply integrated with prop. And if your LOS is not, LOS player has not done any real work out there, I think if they have done PL and they want to come over secured lending, it won't work. There are too many stages, too many hiccups for you to sort of look at. Also, get rid of paper, right? Remove the paper on day one. Paper will be removed from all sides, right? And real-time analytics and dashboard is what I'm expecting you to build for, right? So I think this is architecture you're looking at, all API-fied, data-led, I think something can be built really quickly. Please do assess your own platforms against this. If this is going to work. I think beyond automation, I think please bring enough of data analytics on loan performance side. I mean, even the risk management side, can you bring it out? Another thing is that when your fintech partnership will also come, right? I'm sure today we see a Paisabazaar, or you see a PhonePe also getting into secured lending. Remember, if your backend processes are not digitized, they will find it very tough to partner with you, right? Any partner. So they will expect the turnaround time to be of the first level approval, the financial approval to be immediate. And then for PD and all the other process, they will expect maybe 2 days. So market will move towards those partners which are really agile, and you will lose out on that business as well. Try to standardize all the process and all of that. So I just want to put a framework on how you should think about it. I think also one or two points on understanding your customer, because you will keep saying that मेरा customer digital नहीं है, वो मतलब मेरे हिसाब से तो relevant discussion है. सब online है, but हमारा customer ही नहीं है, right? So we can keep throwing more personas. But each persona is digital right now, heading towards it. But still, when you look at each persona, this is only example of people. But each one has a different perspective. Some is digital first, a youngster, somebody is digital native, somebody is a traditionalist. All of them have to be serviced through digital, and physical world, and everybody has different appetite. But when you build journeys, try to ensure that your personas are well matched, and therefore anybody who is your customer can actually get service. हो सकता है in this particular case, let's say in HL Lab, this is not your customer. That's fine. I mean, 20-year-old guy will not buy a house, but beyond that, they're a customer. So ensure that you build according to their persona, rather than everything is built for traditionalist, and everybody believes that the customer has a lot of time, the sales staff has no work, and they can go to meet the customer 10 times, 20 times. You'll be surprised that normally a sales guy may be meeting in your organization also the customer 5 to 7 times or 8 times. You may also be surprised that the number of handoffs happening within your organization for a single file can be as high as 30. So it can be shocking when you really look at and start counting the handoffs. As I said, please remember that you have to build a hybrid journey with power of digital, but have to be laced with physical strength. You have to focus on multiple personas, multiple channel continuity. You keep finding. I think 10 years back we were saying omni channel. Abhi bhi bana nahi hai. But in a BPL it's okay. You can actually service like that. But in HL Lab you shouldn't, right? Try to be on both sides. And of course, automated wherever possible, right? Don't try to put human at the table when it has to be digitized, right? It's going to be like that, right? I think I'll skip few slides here because I think I'll take more questions. But what I see is there's no optionality you have. You have to digitize now. Now means now because there's too much of money at stake. I'm sure investor community is also asking for better productivity, better results for that. Hybrid journeys will actually unlock a lot of value and help you scale. Tech-enabled levers are available. हमको use करना है. And we can keep saying, yeah, legal technical hai, bahut issue hai. But actually, interesting part is that 20 days mein legal technical actually it takes 2 days only. But the way we have structured is that ho jayega yaar, kya hi farak hai, customer kidhar jayega. And then we say we lost 20% customer because sanction ke baad they didn't take the loan. I mean, why would somebody pay you 5,000 rupees, take sanction and don't take loan, right? That means you are too small, slow any which way. In maybe 5% cases or 2% cases, the customer would have sort of not done that transaction. But otherwise, he would have paid for the same reason. If you the duration between the first activity to disbursement was, let's say, 5 days, the chance that the customer would have walked away is very low. Work with the India stack a lot, and of course, try to ensure that every journey is improves. On day one, you may not be able to do all, but try to do as much as you can. You can uplift every piece, right? You can improve the login rate, dramatically go higher. And of course, if you are doing fintech partnership, logins will increase. The DSs will love you, right? If you can assure that you can say the financial approval happens in, say, maybe few minutes, and then legal technical happens in maybe 7 days. If you can assure your partner or DSA that we will give you a loan in 7 days, or your customer, they will move towards you, flock towards you. That's how it's a DSA community works like that. They will work with somebody who can assure with TAT. And of course, TAT will come down. Queue management and sort of manual process will go away. Productivity will increase, drop-off rates will reduce. Customer will be happy, right? Super happy because unko pata hai kya ho raha hai. I think framework is simple. Many of you are traditional by nature. We have to slowly, gradually move towards a transitioning organization where maybe today it's manual paper, time consuming. Basically, the cost structure is very, very high and technical adoption is low. You will slowly move towards a mixed one where I think some level of digitization will happen. Average process will cut down, the TAT will come down, customer experience will slightly improve. And of course, cost structure will be slightly improved as well, and technology adoption will happen. And of course, then you move here. I have not seen traditional guys just jumping here because you have to also realize that a lot of people on the ground which has to be transitioned. So If you are doing this activity, I think I would, this is why I kept on saying that 7 to 10 days is what you target. I could have said 2 days also, but I think if you jump from traditional to digital directly, you will have create a lot of employee unhappiness as well, a lot of issues on the ground. So do it in such a way that you can actually take the majority of your teams along with you. And our experience in the market has been this. We've done so many of such deals, so much of work with the clients. We've sort of helped a lot of people to assess their current state. We did their assessment of the journeys, process. We benchmarked them to the market, saying market में क्या हो रहा है, क्या experiences, क्या journeys possible है, नहीं possible है. We came back with a recommendation. क्या क्या करना चाहिए? What is exactly the roadmap, piece by piece, step by step. Then we help them into writing those BRDs, PRDs, wireframes, journeys, and of course run programs. So I think our experience has been rather very, very positive. 5 of our clients have used us in these areas in the last few months, and we've been able to cut down costs like crazy. TAT has been improving like crazy, and we see generic experience improvement in the market as well, right? So I think this is what I had sort of thought about sharing with you. What I will also do is take some questions as well. Now, just a pointer, while we said we have done this experience on HLL lab side, we have been working across all journeys, from a savings to a current, to a mobile app benchmarking, to maybe a OD renewal. We have done all kind of work, strategy, process, and all of that. So we'd love to contribute, get your thought process as well. I think we have some time now, maybe 9 minutes available. So I'll request Param to ask his question. And maybe Param, before you speak, please do introduce yourself, so that at least I know the context in which you are asking this question.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, hi, Samir. Param here. I've spent many years in banking tech and I kind of work as an angel investor. So any impact of DIL RMP as yet? Because there was a lot of talk about it that digitizing land records is going to be the next thing. I also heard a startup focused on that. Anything that you are seeing as a way to accelerate digital amongst your customers?
No, I think if you look at it, quite a number of players have entered this area. And काम हो रहा है, right? Both legal और technical दोनों पे हो रहा है. 15 states have digitized it, so a lot of data is available rather fast. And there are enough people like Teal and others who are solving for it. So between legal and technical, there are at least 5 to 10 new startups which have come, who are giving this information rather fast back to the banks. And also, earlier क्या होता था, physical paper आता था. Now they're giving digital, and these APIs can be consumed back so that you can. So there are at least 7 to 10 which is available across board. So the work हो रहा है उस पे, real work.
Good. Thanks, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Param. Then Ramanathan, you can go ahead and ask your question, please, Ram.
Yeah, I hope I am audible, right?
Yeah, Ram.
Okay. I have a very basic question, Samir. In fact, I've undergone some training programs, in Digital Fifth.
Yeah, I remember, Ram.
I have a very, it might appear a little stupid, but I thought I should ask you this question. I understand personal loan is generally a low involvement and small ticket product, right? Generally, the end-to-end journey happens in few minutes. I have also experienced when I took a BNPL also. It all happened in 10-15 minutes end-to-end, okay? While the agenda today is we are discussing the pain point with respect to home loan, right? It's still, physical, right? Where I come from is home loans are typically longer, ticket size. It's a long term. People are willing to wait. There's no sense of urgency unlike a personal loan. So when we are talking about end-to-end digitization, are we discussing about a latent need, or do you feel that there is a need at this point in time?
So I'll try to answer in two directions. Suppose for acquiring one customer today, you spend say 10,000 rupees, and you are 7 people involved into it. And then there is a situation where instead of 10,000, you have to spend say 3,000 rupees. and only two guys are involved, which one will you prefer?
Understood. Understood.
बिजनेस लॉजिक राइट. आप मुझे मतलब मैंने जब 26 दिन का इट टुक मी 26 days to get approval. I can tell you I was frustrated. You are also, one thing you have to remember is that customer does not have too much of time to focus on it. He is taking a home. He's worried. Okay, he's really worried. प्रॉपर्टी को डॉक्यूमेंट सही है, प्रोसेस सही है, कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं मैंने ओवर कमिट करने दिया, मुझे 4 बैंक के पास जाना पड़ेगा, कौन अप्रूवल देगा, किस रेट पे देगा. Actually, when you do PL, you're saying, okay, 2-4% फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Now there's so much of other variance. Suppose मैंने घर खरीद लिया, आपने अप्रूवल दिया ही नहीं, तो मैं प्रॉपर्टी का क्या करूंगा? मैंने पहले ही तो बुक करके दे दिया है. So I think what we don't realize is that property is a heavily invested activity for a customer, and he doesn't want to spend time thinking कि यार बैंक मुझे देगा कि नहीं देगा.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm only saying this is more from the business standpoint. Now, what I understand from this discussion, or what is my inference is, it helps the home loan company to become more efficient. But from a customer standpoint, I am saying, as you rightly said, the number of investors are going to be lesser, customers, but a higher value. Correct?
No, I never said. All I'm saying is that look, our customers, if they spend 26 days talking to you, they will start hunting in the market. They're frustrated. So, what is the experience you want to give? मेरे पास आओ, तुम्हें लोन मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा, मैं आपको मिनटों या आवर्स में बता दूंगा. अगर आपकी प्रॉपर्टी इस लोकेशन पे है तो मैं आपको दे दूंगा. इसमें कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. द पॉइंट इज वी मेक इट रॉकेट साइंस कि आपको पता ही नहीं लग रहा है. जस्ट इमेजिन, आपने पहले ही दे दिया बैंक काउंटर पार्टी को. सपोज आपने सेल में लिया किसी से, रीसेल में लिया, you already given that guy say 30 lakh rupees, right? Now you are hunting for approvals. He needs the data immediately. मुझे approval दे दो, sanction दे दो.
Right. Right.
Okay, and the second part I'll tell you, second part is emotional. Suppose उसने ले लिया property. He wants disbursement to happen rather fast because उसको registration के पास document लेके उसमें अपना प्रॉपर्टी अपने हाथ में लेना है और उसमें अपना वो फर्नीचर बनाना है. अब बीच में आपने 15 दिन अपना रोक के रख लिया, उसके लिए रेंट चढ़ रहा है वहां पे.
Right. Right.
Yeah? I hope I'm bringing all the emotions because when I went through this process, I felt very frustrated कि क्या कर रहा है यार, मेरा पैसा ही खराब कर दिया, मेरा रेंट दे रहा हूँ एक्स्ट्रा बिना बात, राइट? और ये सुन भी नहीं रहा, समझ भी नहीं आ रहा मेरी बात.
Understood. Understood. And I understand it does bring good amount of efficiency from the housing finance standpoint as well. You are also saying it also helps to, reduce the sales cycle, right? From the customer standpoint.
Correct. Same. Digital का same है ना. Don't talk to me if you don't need to talk to me. Talk to me when I need to be spoken to. Ask me data once. Don't ask me again. Service fast. हाँ या ना करो, आगे बढ़ो, खत्म करो.
Understood. Yeah. Thanks.
Let's see if I see more hands up. Maybe, yeah. Then we move to Paramdeep. Paramdeep, please go ahead and ask your question.
I had done that earlier. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Maybe I found it incorrect. So then we have Arva. Please go ahead with ask your question, Arva. And please do introduce yourself so that at least we know the context. Arva, please go ahead. So if no, I'll move to the next one. And there are also some questions which are out there. I think my team also has shared a feedback form. Please go ahead and fill that feedback form as well. We'll be happy to reach out to you and may have a chat with you. Gurpreet, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Samir. How are you? This is Gurpreet.
Hi,
We had spoken in past, and in fact, I was part of one of your early batches. I think second batch.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
I was part.
You're part of Citibank, right? No. Okay. Go ahead, Gurpreet.
On the mortgage part, in terms of onboarding a client, bringing in, from since inception, like, sourcing, bringing in file, on the digital platform, finding out the right customer. Because we have talked a lot about the backend processing once the customer has been onboarded.
So Gurpreet, in between I think everybody lost your question. Can you repeat, please?
Okay, so my question is, what kind of digital journey you suggest for distribution, that is for the front end sourcing, when we are onboarding a customer, finding out a customer, asking him to bring in the papers, because most of the things what we have discussed is once the customer has been onboarded,
No,
because a
no,
lot
no,
of
no.
time, effort,
Actually,
energy and cost
नहीं
is
नहीं
involved in
नहीं
bringing the
नहीं
right.
मैं अपफ्रंट में गुरप्रीत मैं अपफ्रंट में ही सोच रहा था प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है हम डिजिटाइज करते हैं पीछे जाके सो मेरा सिंपल पॉइंट है you have a tab, you do KYC with the customer on tab on whatever way you want to thumb and all. You have a bureau pull you can do in backend. Decisions can be plus minus whatever green amber red you can do right away. You are expecting customer to give a account statement as a PDF. You anyway will upload in backend, or there can be customer app also for that. You can actually do an assistant mode there. So that data is already taken forward. ITR is already available with the customer. He can share with you. Even if not today, you will ask the same question back to him. So he brings these 3-4 documents only to the table. And in only in exceptional cases, you will ask him to give GST. So in a retail business, also same data is required. Only in case of partnership or other entities, maybe KYC document will be convoluted, but otherwise, same data is required, which is you need for PL. You need PL, bank account statement, you need ITR, and of course, these two is the largely on which 80% of the secured lending happens. So if you can assess them upfront and you process it right now, you can actually reduce that the traffic inside the system. So and this is all built for sales. So suppose you can give it that app or framework to the DSA. There you can even go to your sales staff. So the key point is we have to terminate document at that stage, which is the sales stage. अगर वहां से डॉक्यूमेंट फिजिकल आ गया ना तो खत्म है फिर आप फाइल लेके घूमते रहोगे कुछ भी नहीं कर पाओगे so kill the document at that stage everything has to be start from there not from the operation so earlier क्या होता था operations or credit will write the digital requirements right so they will start from there once the document is physically with them I'm saying terminate it upfront get rid of the file upfront.
Got it. So what I'll do is I'll chat up with you offline. I'll call you up, and there are a couple of more questions in my thought process. Maybe I'll discuss with you separately, because for my organization we are looking for something on that front.
Absolutely. We'll love to do it. And also to everyone, please do fill the feedback form so that we can actually get back to you. There is also a report which we've done along with Amicus and Altum Credo, which is very in-depth document. Maybe the as much as you can think is available out there. You can pick it up. I think I'm going to respond back on a few more questions which are there in the system. Let me see what exists today. I think we already spoken about it. Richu is asking how much data accuracy will banks be expecting on an automated product. I think the data accuracy dramatically goes. When you go digital, the data accuracy goes right. I've seen people trying to calculate on Excel and all of that. So I think accuracy level will be dramatically higher, shockingly better, right? So and of course we have to put enough controls on fraud side, but I've seen it really positive. I think the question is also from Ramesh, could you share the list of states where legal and technical is fully digitized? I think Vikrant, if you can take this note and come back to him, it'll be good. Yeah, then with the pain of 6 months, then Rohit Jain, is there anyone in industry using Sumito card for again? At least I have not found many guys in industry. Maybe Vikrant, you take this point and we'll check. And Praveen Singh, documents can be fetched by API. Getting a document by API will previously have. Yes, true. I think Praveen, that's what I was saying, that we shouldn't be pulling it through physical documents. Kill documents, everything else will happen rather fast. I think that's what we do. Please do reach out to us if you have any help, any information required, not just for HL Lab journey, but anything on the digital side, on a banking and BFC side. We operate purely and primarily in this business. All of us have sort of learned this art that how to digitize journey, improve process and all that. We'll love to work with you. Thank you. And we'll be back with the next webinar soon. Thank you. Thanks everyone.